Hi, this is Yvette from the Midnight Crafts. In this updated video about Olfa cutters, I'd like to introduce a few new cutters in my collection and also go through some points about using decorative blades with these cutters. Now let's start off by looking at the 45mm cutters. The 45mm cutters is the most common size used by quilters, and this cutter here is the basic cutter RTY2G. It has the straight and narrow body, and to operate you pull down the blade cover to expose the blade and you push it back to close it. To change out the blade, you remove the nut, the washer, turn it over, remove the cover, and you remove the blade. Alright, to replace it, you just have to perform the reverse order. Remember, you just need to screw it back till it's finger tight, nothing more than that. Alright, and it's ready to go. The latest cutter, the splash cutter, the RTY2C, has a very pretty blue-green color, which I like very much, and it's easy for you to spot in your fabric stash. It has a curvier body, which makes it a little bit more comfortable to hold versus the basic cutter. It exposes the blade the same way as the basic cutter, but one difference is that you can change out the blade without having to worry about the nut and washer, because you just have to push it down, the clip, push the cover out, and then you can switch out the blade very easily. To replace, put it back on the cutter, put the cover on, hold it, and then you push the clip back. Very easy. It is very convenient, especially if you cut a lot and you find that you have to replace the blades pretty often. This is very nifty. The RTY2NS is the quick change cutter. Like the splash cutter, you change out the blade by pushing down on the clip, pushing over the cutter, the cover, and then you can remove the blade like so. To put it back, you place it on the cutter, and then you clip it back. The difference between the two cutters is that the RTY2NS has the split blade cover. You can choose to expose only a portion of the blade, like so that it minimizes the blade exposure, and it's actually very safe to use if you're working in a very tight space. Right out of a package, you can use these three cutters for left-handed or right-handed use. All right, so you can just expose the blade and you can use it for either in your right hand or left hand. And over for this cutter, you can choose to expose the right side or the left side of the cutter. And my favorite cutter is the RTY2DX, the deluxe cutter. It is very comfortable to hold. It has the rubberized grips on both sides, and to expose the blade, you have to squeeze to expose the blade here, and when you release the grip, the blade retracts. So it is very safe to use when you are cutting, and when you're done and you set it down, it retracts automatically. You don't have to be conscious about closing the blade every time you set it down like these cutters here. One additional safety feature is this red button here. You push it down to lock the cutter. This is really useful if you travel a lot with your cutter, or if you have young ones at home. You do not want them to discover the cutters and to accidentally open it and cut themselves, because these blades are very sharp. Alright, so I always lock it and I hang my cutters on my pegboards, which is out of reach of my 2 children at home. Now let me just talk a little bit more about the decorative cutters. Over here I have the wave cutter as well as the pinking cutter. In this video I'm just going to show you my wave cutter, which I don't list in my store anymore because of the difficulties that I have in getting spare blades, spare replacements for the wave blades. I don't use this blade very often, so it is still quite fresh. I'm just going to cut and show you how it looks like. So it has a very gentle curve. And to change out the blade, same as the rest of the cutters, most of the cutters, you remove the nut, the washer, and then the cover, and you can remove the blade. I'm going to just bring this a little bit closer so you can take a look. The decorative cutter have raised edge on the body of the cutter, so that when you place the decorative blade, the scalloped edges do not touch the flat surface of the body here. Alright, so the blade can actually move on this raised portion of the body, and the rest of the scallop edges, they do not touch the body of the cutter. And I'm going to bring, and we're just going to just switch it out with a pinking blade. So this is how I replace my blade. One thing to note with the decorative cutter, the cutter is always in the on position, meaning there is no retracting of the blade to close it. The blades is always exposed in this cutter, so you have to be very careful. And this is how the pink edges look like compared with the wave cutter. Alright, now we spoke about the raised edge in this cut on the body of this cutter. These 3 cutters, I'm just going to put this away. These 3 cutters do not have that raised ridge where the decorative blade can rotate without touching the body. So you can see here, that's why it is not suitable to put a decorative blade on these cutters. Alright, see, it is flat here. It doesn't have that raised edge. Whereas for the deluxe cutter, you'll notice that it comes with a plastic washer. Alright, and the reason why it comes with the plastic washer is so that this cutter will be compatible with a decorative edge. To use it, decorative blade. So to use it with the decorative blade, you place the washer on the cutting side put the decorative blade here, the cover back on. Okay, fit the washer back on. Now you can see that there is a spacer between the body of the cutter and the decorative edge. That's what the plastic washer is for. Alright? So that's why the RTY2DX is compatible for use with the straight blade as well as the decorative blade, regardless is it the wave, the scalloped, or the pinking blade. I'm going to show you here. If you're a left-handed user, you will have right out from the package, you will have to make some adjustment. You will have to switch the side of the blade from this side to the back side, okay, of the cutter. Put the plastic washer back on, the spacer and the washer, then the nut. Then you can use it for in your left hand. Alright, so the only cutter that is compatible to be used with a decorative blade is the 45mm deluxe cutter, the RTY2DX. Personally, I do prefer to keep my cutters separate for different blades, because I do not like to switch blades too much because of potential damages to the blades, as well as safety reasons. I just prefer to keep my decorative blades on a separate cutter, and I keep my old blades for use on paper on my basic cutter. Usually I would have written the date where I decommissioned the blade from cutting fabrics. So if it's blunt or it has a nick somewhere, I can always use it and save it for cutting papers or felt or something other than quilting cottons. Alright. In terms of personal favorites, I've mentioned that I like the 2DX, followed by the 2NS, but I do like to bring the RTY2C cutter out because it is really prettier to use, prettier to look at, as well as it's also the lightest cutter out of the rest, and it allows me to switch out blades very quickly. Let's say if I have to go for a dressmaking and I want to bring out, say, to cut my paper patterns versus cutting my fabrics. So I'll just bring a spare case of old blade for cutting papers, and I can just switch it out very easily without having to bring two bulky cutters out for workshops. Alright, so very quickly I'd like to show you this 18mm cutter. In a separate video, I showed how I use the 18mm cutters to cut small pieces of curved patch, my apple cores. All right, and it's really very useful, and I actually am loving this 18mm cutter very much, especially when I work with my hand-pieced or fussy cutting projects. The circle cutter, I'd like to actually point out that the 18mm blades are the same as the one used here for the rotary cutter. They are the same 18mm straight blade, and if you have not noticed, actually this is also a quick change cutter, where you just push down the button here and you hold on to it, and then the cover with the blades can be removed and replaced very easily. Alright, well, to expose the blade, what you do is that you just grip it, okay, and the blade is exposed here. I'm just going to show you very quickly how I use this. You expose the needle, you put it to the width or the diameter, the radius of the circle that you want. You retract the blade, and then you turn it by using the ratchet very easily, so that you're able to put the maximum pressure on the blades and to give you the best cut possible. Alright, okay, with this I shall bid you good night, and if there's any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments below, or you can visit my blog at www.midnightcrafts.net to leave your comments. Thank you.